As a motorsports reporter and being born and raised in Indianapolis, racing has always been in my blood.
I'm a professional racer and car builder, and I've done quite a few car transformations over the years.
And with our experiences and friends in the automotive industry, Collete and I have teamed up to combine our love for cars with our desire to make a difference.
Helping Hands Garage is all about giving back to deserving families who have a project that's seen better days.
So join us as we roll up our sleeves and drive dreams forward at Helping Hands Garage. Well, as we all know, life has a funny way about it. The highs, the lows, and maybe a few obstacles in between. But hey, it is always better when you have your car community with you. I'm Katie Osborne.
And I'm Collete Davis.
And this is Helping Hands Garage.
So here at Helping Hands Garage, we find amazing people and families that quite literally just need some extra helping hands to get their build across the finish line.
It's the perfect opportunity to introduce you to this 81 Camaro and the Wilburn family. Now, this Camaro was bought in 2017 by the grandfather of the family. He passed it down to his son when he died, unfortunately, just a few short years ago. Steve and his wife Lena haven't really had the time of their life behind the wheel because they just haven't been able to get it back on the road running the way they really would want it to.
Now, luckily for us, the car does run and drive, so we don't need to mess with anything under the hood.
That is good news.
It is very good news. It makes it a little simpler, but we do want to throw this thing up on the lift, take a look underneath it, see what we're working with, and also see what parts he already has for this car.
Well, and as you get to know the car, we're going to go get to know the family. Well, the time has come to officially introduce you to the Wilburn family. We have Steve, we have Lena. Thanks for joining us in the Helping Hands Garage.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
First, I want to start with your military service. Got to say thank you for what you and your friends have done to be there for us.
Well, we thank you for the support. It means a lot to know that people are behind us.
And as it relates to a lot, it means a lot to you and your body and where it's left your body, and part of the challenges with really getting to the Camaro and working on it.
Absolutely. The problem you have when you dedicate 26 years of your life to military service is it tends to take a toll on your body. It makes it a little challenging when you want to do something like work on a car, especially when you don't have the ideal location for it. Bringing the car back up here, it ended up going in a storage unit along with everything else that we had purchased for the car. And I just lost the ability and opportunity. And there was a lot of emotion tied to that, not being able to do that with my father.
How can we help recreate that a little bit here?
I think by being able to get the quality time, not only with my family, but with my friends, you enjoy that camaraderie that you get in the military, as well as with your kids, right? Having your kids there to see how you interact with a vehicle and how you can teach them something and you can carry on this tradition and this legacy of hot rodding and cars.
So we have twin boys, and one is special needs, the other one is typical. And I think, you know, it's a different kind of bond, but it's a bond. But I have a picture in my mind, just having Steve and the boys, seeing them drive away. I don't know, it's just the noise, seeing Steve smile, seeing Sammy smile, seeing Gabriel, all proud of what they have done.
Being able to do it with both of my boys and hand the keys one day to Gabriel. I don't know, Sammy might be the better driver. But I guess what it would mean to me is a completion of a circle.
Well, we know you're only original once. So Collete, kind of taking a look at the underbody here, what do you think about mixing up the originality? Because it's almost all original.
Yeah, so pretty much underneath here, it is mostly original, you know, aside from the exhaust and headers here. And we want it to feel more like a modern day muscle car, especially get rid of that boaty or floaty feeling and really make this car come to life with how it handles. So one of the main things we're going to be focusing on is a complete suspension overhaul and upgrade for this thing. We're also going to be upgrading the brakes, all around disc brake conversion, and have some new rubber and tires to this thing. You know, the rubber is the one thing that really connects this entire thing to the ground and lets you fully experience what it's capable of. So that's definitely going to be on the list.
And as you kind of take a look here, I mean, what condition is it in, really? I mean, it's
in old condition. It's
simply put,
in old condition, and we're gonna make this thing look a lot nicer. And luckily for me, you know, this is Helping Hands Garage, so I don't have to do all the work alone. Steve reached out to some of his car buddies from the local military base, so let's go meet our Helping Hands. So So Steve already has a bunch of parts for this car, and he also has some friends, and they're going to be our helping hands for this episode. So welcome, Rob and Dennis.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for your service. You're both in the military.
Absolutely. Retired. Absolutely.
But we have a flavor of military here, right? We got Army and Air Force.
That's correct. Yes, yes. Got a joint venture going on.
I'm an Army brat.
Cool. Nice to see
Oh,
you.
no love here.
So,
No.
Hey. So you're both military guys and car enthusiasts as well.
Yes, yes, we are. I traditionally work on like Corvettes and things of that nature, but again, Steve put in the call to see if I would make an exception to work on this Camaro, and I decided I would.
I have a 1964 Chevy C10. Old school, kind of souped up a little bit. So again, being Steve's friend, when he made a call to come and help him, we wanted to help him. So we'll do anything it takes today.
I definitely appreciate it because you guys are going to be helping me get this
Yeah.
thing upgraded.
Outstanding.
So I'm excited.
Well, let's do it. Oh, I'm racing you, Danny.
Both Rob and Dennis know their way around a car and have some serious mechanical skills. They jump right in and add some muscle as we start tearing apart this old suspension on the Camaro.
Somebody muscles are big.
All right, you tap in.
Let me tap in. All right.
Together.
Tap in, Dennis. Got it?
We gotta hold that up a little bit.
All right, we just finished tearing out the old, dated front suspension out of this thing. Thank you, guys.
Those control arms were hell.
I mean, we are working on an old car right now, and between the rust and just what happens to metal over time, they usually put up a fight, but I appreciate you guys bringing the muscle and helping out. So coming up next, we have a bunch of shiny new parts to put on this thing to completely overhaul the front suspension.
We're back in the shop, and Rob and Dennis is helping our Helping Hands crew bring this 81 Camaro to life. And they are, making some magic happen there in the rear with the suspension.
Yes, and in front of us, we actually have coilover conversion, lowering springs, and all new upper and lower A-arms that are both tubular and caster corrected for better stability. So let's dive in. You chose this kit for a reason. What are you looking forward to the most?
Honestly, the most I'm looking for the adjustability of the coilovers. These springs will drop it down 2 inches. These do correct caster and camber like you had talked about. The Delrin bushings are a nice addition. They do give a little bit of road vibration, but they don't cold flow, so you'll get a much tighter feel when you're driving. It's going to feel like a much more newer, modern car.
Which is what we were talking about at the very beginning, right? Is like, let's tighten this thing up, make sure that it's drive worthy, but also comfortable too at the same time.
Yeah, we love the old muscle, but let's make it feel like a modern muscle car.
We have a handful of parts here. And in fact, this is not even just all that you have way back in the back here. But Classic Industries is another opportunity where you can really find some of these parts, dive into what you want, and really make sure that your car becomes a modern day muscle car. But before you're comfortable in the driver's seat, I think there's a young gentleman in the back, Gabriel, my friend, who looks like he's really ready to jump on in here.
Oh, he cannot wait to get his hands dirty.
Not only is Gabriel willing to get his hands dirty with his dad, but you can tell he's been paying attention and following his dad every step of the way.
You want to do the other one now?
I know the boys are going to enjoy it. I know he's going to enjoy driving the boys around. This is a lot of help. That's the help that he needed for this project to happen. This was his dream, seeing the boys working with him, spending time with him. And after so many years of collecting and collecting, it's finally happening. His goal was to be able to enjoy the car with the boys before he's 50. He'll be 50 next year. So this is actually happening. So I'm really happy that this is happening.
You know, one of the things that was neat was you were talking to me earlier today about the dream of seeing these three boys together. Steve wanted to work on the car with the boys and the full circle story about his dad, but you wanted this moment right here.
Yeah, I wanted that picture. I wanted to see the three of them. And would you guys help? This is just a dream come true.
No, we don't need an Allen for this one. But I do need those 2 bolts with the nuts on them.
Yep.
How can I help?
Should I move that over?
Let's do insert the decimal. Look at you, muscles.
We're done, right? So how are you feeling starting to see all these new shiny bits coming onto the car?
It's just making the rest of the car look dirty, so I know I have double the work to clean up after I get this on.
Yeah, you might have a lot of detailing work to do after this, but we've made a ton of progress here on the front of the car, but I keep hearing some grunting and complaining and screaming back there, so we should probably go check in and see what the progress is like in the back of the car.
I agree.
At Helping Hands Garage, it really is about that extra help, and Dennis here have been very instrumental in how the day is worked out. And in fact, I think it's so interesting how you and some of the guys have come together, Steve in particular with the military connection.
So Steve and I met in 2013 at SOCOM, so Special Operations Command. I started there, brand new, and the first person I met was Steve.
No
we were
way.
cute mates. It's an honor to be here with helping him out with this project and being here with you guys.
Well, it's an honor to have you and all of you from the military here. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And also for your sweat on this car,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I saw you wiping your brows earlier, because this has been a little action back here in the rear of the vehicle. What have you been working on?
So as you can see in my hand, we have leaf springs,
Yes.
right? The leaf spring carries the bulk of the weight of this vehicle. So now that we've been told that Steve is planning to drop the vehicle 2 inches in the front, the little tabs here you see allows us to adjust the rear as well. So we can mimic what he's dropped in the front and get that 2-inch ride height all across. He have a mean ride and look with that vehicle. So right now with the new setup with the coilovers up front and the new leaf springs in the back with the shocks, it allows us now to tie his car in and firm it up. Now with adjustability, he can go up or down, and when that axle starts to wrap, move backwards and forwards, it's locked in now. It's not going anywhere. He has a reliable vehicle.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about lessons learned, and that is that not something you learned over the course of your time within the military?
In my 31 years in the military, you always depend on you and your friends. So things that you can learn from any event, whether deployment or here in States, you apply that to the next build. So just so happen that we're going to be working on the other side of this vehicle. So all the pain we learned on this side of the vehicle transfers over to the other side. And now we know it won't be as long of an ordeal to hook this system up, and we should be
Y'all have
piece of cake.
But you know how I like the cake.
I know that.
When we come back on Helping Hands Garage, we'll continue working on the new suspension parts and also add some appearance upgrades to modernize this classic Camaro. It's another day in Helping Hands Garage, and Collette seemed to get a whole lot of sleep. Steve, on the other hand, minimal sleep. But hey, that's what this is all about. The guys are getting busy on the rear, still busy, if you will, because in fact, it's been a long process. And we still have a little bit to do in the front, too.
Yes, we've actually made a ton of progress, and in front of us, we have even more upgrades by Hotchkiss from Classic Industries. So we have our Hotchkiss handlebars and our Hotchkiss subframe connectors. Both of these are going to add a lot more rigidity and stiffness to the chassis to get rid of that floaty, boaty feeling that you just don't want when you want to have a nice driving and responsive experience. Now, Steve, you went ahead and upgraded the upgrade. This usually comes with poly bushings, but you went ahead and got solid aluminum ones.
Yeah, that's right. Solid aluminum bushings aren't necessarily for everybody. They are a little bit more hardcore than the poly bushings. Poly bushings are great for absorbing vibration and harmonics and still give you a firm feel. Aluminum bushings are definitely more hardcore. You're going to feel every rock, pebble, and bump in the road when you're driving your car.
So you're saying there's been changes in the car industry over the years.
Just a little bit. Welding techniques have gotten a little better. So.
Oh, speaking of welding techniques, rumor has it girl's going to be breaking out that skill set, huh?
Yeah, so with the subframe connectors, we can bolt or weld them in, but welding is preferred if you're able to do that. And I learned last week, so we'll see if I can make that work with this.
Are we all going to be around for this, or
yeah, we'll find out if I can still weld.
Rob over here wiping some sweat off of his brow. It's been a lot of work.
It has.
Overall. But before we get to kind of the tech, I want to know a little bit about the why. And that's the why of helping out Steve, why being a helping hand. What does the family mean to you?
When Steve asked me to do this, you know, it was an immediate yes. And
Did he tell you what you were doing?
No, he lied. He definitely lied.
Okay,
he definitely said I wasn't going to do a whole lot of work, which obviously we can see that was a lie.
Yeah.
But Steve is one of those guys that, takes care of his family. He handles his business. I've always respected him, because, again, he's having to deal with things that we don't have to deal with. Myself having 3 children, I know how difficult that is, but he takes it that extra mile because, again, he has a child with special needs. Never complains, never has any issues. He's always there for his kid, and I know how much he loves them. So, being able to give back to him in even just a small way of helping him with this vehicle, I'm just happy to do it. So it's actually, an honor to be able to do it with him. So
an honor to have you here. Thank you for your service as well with the military ties. And
Yeah.
you and Steve have had a lot of experience along the way.
Yeah.
This is one you guys will never forget.
Yeah. He's never going to forget
No,
it.
that's true. He will never forget it when he's in that driver's seat.
Yeah.
But before he gets to the driver's seat, we have a lot to do still.
Yes.
And that has to do with some of these parts. Up at the front, seemed like an easy kind of plug and play, bolt on. This, not so much.
No, it wasn't. So for the rear, it was a little bit more difficult. We had to take off the differential cover, pull the axles, remove the old drum brakes. And now we've got a spacer on, so we're going to go ahead and drop the actual plate here, and it'll fit something like this on this on here to kind of give that clearance, and go ahead and finish the brakes on there. And again, he's going with the C5 upgrade, which
for this guy.
is it's necessary. I mean, like I said, he's not going to have the speed of a Corvette, but he'll have the stopping power of one.
Now, Steve, you were telling me earlier that this is a full circle project from your dad to you to be able to share it with your sons. Before we get to that full circle moment, doing some donuts out there, we need to make sure we get some tires up on this thing. We've got a Hercules Raptus RT5 set, the low profile, of course, staggered, right? Wider in the rear, narrow in the front. What's your take on what this is going to be like for the car?
Oh, it's totally going to change the look of the car. It's amazing what a set of wheels and tires will do to a car's appearance, taken from stock to that day 2 look of a little bit aftermarket, a little bit sportier, and definitely better handling.
I think it's going to add a little sport to it.
A little bit of spice.
A little spice to the life. All right, but let's get it up on there. We are in the final stretch here in Helping Hands Garage. Guys, this is like the last 100-yard dash of a marathon that we've been putting together.
We're almost across the finish line, but we have a few more things for you. So pretty much all of the mods so far have been from parts that you already had stored up for this build. But we wanted to spice up the exterior just a little bit, starting with this new hood. It's an OER hood from Classic Industries, cowl induction hood, and it's EDP coated. So you don't have to worry about any rust or corrosion getting on this thing, because we do know that eventually you want to respray and repaint the entire car. So now you can take your time and not worry about any rust getting on your brand new hood. And in addition to this, we have some Z28 appearance upgrades for you with the drill and taillights as well.
Walk us through where you're at with the thought process of that dream kind of coming true.
It's really unbelievable, because knowing what the car was before it came here, and then bringing it in and seeing the pallet full of stuff that I had, and wheels and tires, and now this, it is a totally different car, and I'm still not done with it, but the ability to be able to get in that car with my family in the very, very near future and take them for a ride, it really does bring me full circle into that goal that me and my father had. And I couldn't possibly thank everybody here enough. Classic Industries for supporting this and helping us with everything. It's been phenomenal. And definitely, almost most of all, are my friends. And then thank you to Colin and Katie for doing what you did for me and everything.
Yeah, we are so grateful to be able to share these moments with you and the family as well. And of course, Rob and Dennis bringing a little comedic relief around here.
Yeah, I usually think they're kind of stiff, so I'm the funny one, but I'm glad they showed up and didn't let me down.
We're glad they did too.
Well, we are almost to the finish line with this thing. Let's just throw on the last visual mods and get this thing buttoned up. Before we install our new OER hood, we're going to replace the old rusty hinges and throw on some new springs as well. And even though this is a base model Camaro, we're upgrading to some Z28 parts to give it a much sleeker look. And then we finished off with some Z28 taillight covers to get rid of the original faded ones.
There you go.
like it, Sammy? You're smiling. Sammy, do you want to drive it too? No!
You want Daddy to drive it? Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, I haven't seen one of these
and
in
it
a
works.
long
Listen, ready?
time.
Ready?
It does look a little bit like
Those kids never see a car like that. You don't see these on the road anymore. You see the old Camaros, but you don't see these. I can die now. I have my whole family in my hot rod, and I'm good. Everything that I put on there for the suspension is fantastic. It is a different car. It stops like a new car. There's no words to describe what it's like to be on a set with a team that's been assembled like that, and to have your kids there and your family there, and they're turning the wrenches with you. And I got to explain to my kids certain components of a car, and he actually paid attention. It brought everything full circle for me, because this is something I wanted to do with my dad and my kids. And although my dad wasn't here, I had a new family to help me at Helping Hands, my friends and the team at Helping Hands. So for me, it really was a dream come true, because I never thought I would get there.
It was nice to see Steve happy, having the whole family in the car, and then finally getting his dream come true. You made a memory in the family that is gonna last forever, and we just appreciate everyone that helped.
It's almost lights out here at Helping Hands Garage. Now, Collete, there were so many takeaways with the Wilburn family, and it was our first. What was the big moment for you?
Well, first of all, we had an amazing group of people on this one. I mean, the banter and camaraderie between Steve, Dennis, and Rob was absolutely amazing. And seeing everybody come together to get that project done is what the show is all about.
Yeah, you've nailed it. And the comedic relief in between the emotions. It was stellar. I loved the full circle moment that happened for Steve. His dream coming true, going from his dad to him to sharing the joy with his sons and his wife. It was too cool.
And with that, we have our very first completed project here on Helping Hands Garage.